Mến chào các bạn, mình là Thủy Lê, huấn luyện viên cuộc sống của Học viện Proctor Gallagher, người sẽ giúp các bạn chuyển hóa cuộc đời của mình từ bên trong, nơi chứa đựng sức mạnh, tiềm năng và các công cụ sáng tạo phi thường, giúp bạn kiến tạo cuộc đời bạn thực sự muốn trải nghiệm tại đây và ngay bây giờ.
It's a piece of literature by Thomas Troward that I believe is one of the most beautiful pieces of literature you could study. The starting point. Now let's look. There's something to be learned from this that'll impact every one of us. The starting point. And it just keeps expanding. That's the way our life is. Our life can just keep expanding. It keeps getting bigger and better. And I don't care how good you can feel better. It doesn't matter how good it gets, it can get better. Better is a beautiful word. I love it. And it just keeps expanding. Now let's look here. The starting point. It's an old saying that order is heaven's first law. Yet, like many other old sayings, it contains a much deeper philosophy than appears immediately on the surface. Order is heaven's first law. Now, let's think about that for a moment. Order is heaven's first law. We'll come back over to my friend here. Doyle, if you were in a heavenly state, how do you think you'd feel?
Loving.
Pardon?
Loving.
Loving?
Yes.
Does that really describe it?
That's acceptance of all things.
If you were in a heavenly state, you'd have a difficult time saying how you'd feel, wouldn't you?
Oh, I had a difficult time saying that a few years ago.
Think of this for a moment. When you talk about a heavenly state, you're talking about something that goes beyond our vocabulary. You have a difficult time finding a word that properly explains it. Would you agree?
Yes.
Now, I'm going to tell you why. All the words in your vocabulary are third dimensional. They're third dimension. When you start talking about a heavenly state, you've gone to a dimension beyond the third dimension. We have no words to describe it. Now, I understand the Hebrew religion, they have words, but there's no vowels, so we don't know how to say them. You're feeling so good that you don't even have a word to describe how good you feel when you're in an orderly state. Now, let's suppose, Doyle, I'm calling on you, I'm selling, and I come into your place of business and I say, hi, how are you, Doyle?
Doing great.
Now, what have we made here? We've made a connection. Do you know that the vibration I'm in is going to affect this man? My energy is affecting his energy. When you touch another person, woo, something happens, doesn't it? There's a transference of energy. If you're in a heavenly state, when you reach out and touch them, woo, like that, something happens. If I took a bare wire and stuck it in a wall socket and took hold of your hand, something would happen. You'd be dancing, wouldn't you? That's because your body is such a magnificent conductor of energy. Do you know, if you're selling, it's a wise thing when you reach a certain point, just reach out and you want to make a point, touch them. When you touch them, something happens when you're on the same frequency. Okay? Now, let's suppose you're not in a heavenly state. What would be the opposite of a heavenly state? Negative. It'd be a hell of a state then, wouldn't it? Yeah. Let's suppose a person is in a hell of a state. I'm in a hell of a state. I've got all kinds of problems. I don't know if my car's going to be repossessed while I'm on the sales call. I'm even wondering if I got enough gas to get home. And the phone's liable to get cut off because I haven't been paying the bill. all kinds of bad stuff. But I'm going on a sales call, and I'm not going to let them know that. I put a great big smile on my face, and I walk in and say, hi, how are you?
Great.
Now, hi, how are you? That's all sugarcoating.
I feel it.
What's going on inside? Zzz, zzz, zzz. And what's going to happen? I'm transferring the negative energy through contact. I'm sending positive energy out through words. So on a conscious level, he's getting the positive, and on a subconscious level, he's getting the negative. That's called a double binding message. You're never going to get a positive result when you send positive on a conscious level, negative on a subconscious level. It's all going to get messed up. You see the difference?
I hope you enjoyed this video. We put a lot of good information up here, and it causes everything in your life to get better. If you'd like us to notify you every time we put a new video up, hit subscribe and then turn on notifications. Check out all our videos, and we will notify you when we put a new one up.